Okay. The sermon in the scripture is from James 1, verse 9. We're following up with what I've been doing going through the book of James. And we're on verse 9. And it says, "Let the brother of low degree rejoice in that he is exalted." Another way to put it, let he who is poor say that he is rich. I shared a meme earlier this week from my personal Facebook account, where it's a picture of a homeless person kneeling in the middle of the street, looking up and had his hands folded, praying. And he's asked, why? He said, because I'm praying to God. Even though I don't have anything here on earth, it is because of God I have riches in heaven. I am a rich man. And that is what this verse is saying here. And this last week, I went up to Frankfort, to the state capitol, sat in on a couple of hearings. One was dealing with medical marijuana. And they're trying to frame it so that it's an answer to the opioid crisis. Instead of people being hooked on to opioids like they are, if they'd been able to access marijuana, we wouldn't have the opioid crisis. And they're wanting it to be for the elderly, the older population of people. But if you read everything, it's a long bill. It's several hundred pages thick. I still haven't waded through everything. But this one, they were looking at what is the economic cost of it, is what they were looking at this last week. And the group, the board that would be in charge of it, was tasked with finding out, trying to estimate how much it would cost the state. And they based their figures on the state of Oklahoma, because they've got a medical-only program similar to what Kentucky's wanting to implement. And their population is approximately the same as Kentucky. And unfortunately, that program is less than a year old. So a lot of the information they were looking for, they could not provide. And they didn't provide it. They said, we can't tell you what it's going to cost when we figure in state troopers and other aspects of the program, of stuff that they know will happen. However, Colorado has had a program in place for over 9 years. Theirs is a mixed bag. And they've done their program a little bit different. It was brought in with the promise that it was going to build schools. The state implemented a tax similar like we have on the lottery. It is supposed to help school programs and school issues. Except they said we're going to use this money to build new school buildings. Well, there was a superintendent of one of the school districts, it's the largest school district in the state of Colorado, who has been on record saying the only thing marijuana legalization has brought into the school is marijuana. Overall, the entire program, both the recreational and the medical, the amount brought into the state through the sales taxes and taxes they have on it is only 0.9% of the state's budget, less than 1%. And there was a study, they published studies. This is the study I saw was the sixth one, which was, they've done it last year. It's based on 2018 figures. The state, for every $1 revenue the state gets from marijuana, they spend $4.50 to help deal with the problem created by marijuana. That's state police, city police, inspectors trying to deal with crime rates, all of that stuff. So the state is losing money with that program. And this study also looks at medical marijuana, because they do have a medical marijuana program with cards issued and everything. And in that study, 62% of the medical marijuana cards are introduced to, or given to males. Average age, 40. And one of the things that they're pushing here in Frankfort on the medical marijuana is to help the elderly population, the ones that are in homebound, can't get out. They're the ones that need the marijuana. And they're saying that, you know, that's who it's for. But if you look at the statistics coming out of Colorado, males, average age of 40, are the ones that have the medical marijuana cards. And the number one complaint that the cards are issued for is chronic pain. That's all it says, chronic pain. They don't specify if it's arthritis or headaches or something. It's just chronic pain. That could be anything under the world. So anybody could get with the doctor and say, and try to get a history documented showing they have this chronic pain for this particular issue. And they can get the marijuana card, and then they would be able to purchase marijuana. And then the other issue we looked at that they were looking at, as I mentioned earlier, was wagering on horse races. Horse racing industry is trying to generate more income and to get more people in. Plus, they're pushing for being able to wager on your mobile phones, such as what Indiana's just implemented. And they say, we're losing money, and we're losing money to offshore programs. Programs that are like out in the Virgin Islands. They have websites set up, and they don't fall under the purview of the U.S. government tax laws and all that other stuff, other laws. They're saying we're losing money to them. And that's the way they're addressing it, saying, hey, we need all this money to come back into the state. Well, the problem is only a small percentage of that money comes back to the state itself. The rest of it gets spent on salaries, going to the jockeys, the trainers, the owners of the horses, and for their care and for everything else. Very little comes back to the state. Same with marijuana. Now this law, I think they're wanting to develop it so that the medical marijuana program sustains itself. That instead of taxing it for a special project, such as schools or something like that, all the state income, all the income generated from it through the taxes would go back into their marijuana program, so that the people that are poor, unable to make payments, unable to buy the marijuana themselves, will be able to have access to the medical marijuana if the doctor says they need it. But that is just a very small percentage. And so for us today, by the world standards, there's a lot of us that are poor by the world standards. But by God's standards, those of us that are Christians, we are richer than the richest person, because our treasures are laid up in heaven. And as James says here, let the brother of low degree rejoice in that he is exalted. We are exalted in heaven, because that is where our treasure lies. And that is what we need to focus on and tell others. The treasure is not here on earth. The treasures here on earth will rust, disappear, become nothing. But our treasures in heaven are waiting for us. And so, as I come to a close, if you're not a Christian, you want to become one, feel free to come down forward, down front. I'll be up front here waiting to receive you. And if you want to join our church, join our fellowship, we'll be here. Or if you have other issues that haven't been mentioned, that you didn't want to mention during the prayer request, but there's issues you need to pray about, want to pray about, just something you want to get, just to turn over to God. And you want to pray with somebody about it. I'll be up here. I'll be down there in front, waiting to receive you.
Number 183.
And so, as we get ready to sing our invitation, remember, we have a lot to be thankful for and a lot to rejoice for.
183, let's stand.